chapter 12, book of Mark 28 through 34. The most important commandment. One of the teachers of the law, Moses, came up while Jesus and the Sadducees were arguing. When he heard Jesus give a good answer, he asked him, "What is the most important commandment?" Jesus answered, "The most important one says, 'People of Israel, you have only one Lord and God. You must love him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength.' The second most important commandment says, 'Love others as much as you love yourself.' No other commandment is more important than these. The man replied, 'Teacher, you are certainly right to say there is only one God. It is also true that we must love God with all our heart, mind, and strength, and that we must love others as much as we love ourselves. These commandments are more important than all the sacrifices and offerings that we could possibly make.' When Jesus saw that the man had given a sensible answer, he told him, 'You are not far from God's kingdom.' After this, no one dared ask Jesus any more questions. Amen.
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 In preparation for today's message, I was giving myself a lot of thought about who are the saints in my life. Are they people that are all gone way in the past, or they can be people that are still very much alive today? And I'd like to share 4 saints, and 3 out of the 4 are children. Sainthood is not just reserved for adults. A number of years ago, I was a teacher in a preschool kindergarten that was funded by the state of California. And this was in San Pedro, California. And many of our students came from a battered women's shelter where the mothers were given classes in household management and job preparation and training. The children received psychological help. But each child had a very sad tale to tell. And the saint that I discovered at that school was a 5-year-old boy by the name of Donnie. We were playing in the sprinklers one day, and I said, "Donnie, you need to change your shirt." So I lifted up his shirt, and there were these little marks all over his chest. And I said, "Donnie, what happened?" He said, "Well, my dad, when he has beer, gets really, really mean. And that is what happened. My dad took a knife and stabbed me several times. Over many years. When he was in a bad mood because he had too much to drink." And I thought, oh my gosh, what this kid has gone through. But then what made him a saint is he said, "I know that is not who he is. He only gets that way when he's drunk. And the other times he's really pretty nice." And I had a little brother to take care of. His little brother was 2 years old. And he was there every day taking care of his little brother Dennis, and always making sure that Dennis was okay and that he was, behaving himself. He was like the little father to that little child. I can't imagine a 5-year-old being that understanding and also not angry. Wouldn't most of you be angry if you got stabbed by your parent? But he wasn't angry. He understood the power of alcohol and what it can do to people. I found that very amazing. The next saint in my life, and Art knows him, taught me why I should have joy in my life. When I started teaching special ed students that had serious problems, especially physical problems, those in wheelchairs who couldn't walk, and you had to pick them up, two-person lift onto a change table, and they had no control over their bowels and bladder. I thought, oh, what a rotten life. I would hate to live like that. I feel so sorry for them. Oh, it's just a wonder that God allowed them to live, because it's just terrible. Well, Miguel, and he's smiling, Miguel taught me different. Miguel was a lot happier than most of us here today. When Miguel came off that bus, he didn't have control, really. It was kind of what? He was so happy to be in school. He was so happy to be here. He loved his teachers. He loved the other kids. I was not brought up in a home with much joy. And Miguel taught me what it is to really have true joy. He knew that people cared about him. And he expressed that. It was also a dirty little man. And his hands would sometimes get in places they shouldn't. And you knew that he knew, because he would then laugh. Now, if he were a regular kid, but he was really a joy. And right now, I have a little guy, another saint in my life. His name is Jorge. And Jorge looks like he had that disease that you've heard about, escapes my attention, where when the mother is pregnant with the child, they get bitten by a mosquito. You know what I'm talking about? No, not Lyme's disease.
Dengue.
And they have really small heads. Yeah, really small heads. And he's very intellectually challenged. But when he comes off of that bus, first thing he does is he grabs me, which of course we're not supposed to do that, because we're not supposed to touch children anymore, whether positive or negative. But he doesn't care. And he grabs me by the wrist, and he's all the smile on his face. I mean, it is something to behold. It is something really, really great. He is so happy. He loves everybody. He has so much joy in his life, and he expresses it to everyone. He is kind to the teachers, he's kind to the other students, and he's very grateful for being there. The last thing I'd like to talk about is about a woman by the name of Maria. I have not always had cushy jobs, okay? And when I was in grad school, I worked as a CNA at a nursing home. And it was worse then than it is now. They didn't have disposable diapers. And a lot of you're smiling, you know what I'm talking about. And a lot of the people in the nursing home had to be changing. They were cloth diapers. Oh my, and then when they would have a run on, you know what? It was really a mess. And then if somebody didn't show up to work, then we had more patients. And I'd go crazy. And some of the other CNAs would just do a disappearing act and call for help. But not Maria. Maria today would be called an illegal alien. That's what people would call her today. She was the most wonderful, wonderful person. And she didn't care if we were short-handed. Anytime I needed help, I know I could always depend on Maria. She made very little money. She left Mexico because they were literally starving. And she came up here and lived with some relatives. And so they were all living in one room in an apartment. And she sent as much money as she could to her husband in Mexico so that he could live. All I could see from her was love and giving and care. Wonderful woman. There are people today that would want to get rid of her and send her back and say, you're no good. You're not here legally. But if it weren't for the Marias of this world, a lot of bottoms wouldn't get wiped. All right? They wouldn't. Because she was there to always help out. And so today, on All Saints Sunday, I want to remember all of the people in my life that have truly been saints. And I hope this will also bring to your mind people who've been saints in your lives too.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.